Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you guys another Smash Brothers video here today to talk about my first thoughts on Byleth. And, I wanted to give it a little bit more time, have a little bit more, experience with the character before I gave, just like some initial, first 4 minutes thoughts. And as well as, give, some of the pros some times to, kind of figure things out and really show what the character is capable of, at the very least for right now, and have a better idea of the strengths and weaknesses of the characters, whether there's anything easy to exploit, whether good or bad with the character. I'm using the Adaleth skin in all these replays, by the way, just so you know, and we're gonna go ahead and take advantage of that super armor. Adaleth forever, by the way. So Byleth as a character, people like, Fire Emblem, whatever, another sword character, and they totally address that, which kind of really funny for, Sakurai and the team to address that odd criticism that doesn't make any sense when you take a look at a triple Venn diagram of projectiles and swords and brawlers. It's just swords there's not that many of them compared to the rest of the cast. But I was definitely looking forward to the character. This is actually the very first time ever I've played there's been a DLC character from a video game I've actually played. The first time that's ever happened, oddly enough. I didn't even think about that until Byleth came out. So, it was disappointing for some people that it was not a third-party character, because, and I don't know if this is true, I've heard that when they announced the Fighter Pass that they said that they were all going to be third party. Clearly that didn't happen, and I'm not even sure if that was even a promise that was made by anybody, or mistranslation or something. I don't know. So with Byleth, she's obviously super duper slow, has a terrible disadvantage state, super easily juggled, and very slow, isn't the best at punishing things, but when she does hit and when she does punish, it's some of the biggest hits and punish in the entire game. We've all, seen clips or had experiences ourselves. I mean, I killed that Byleth in the first game at 80% with the down special. And that was, when they died, not when I hit them. I didn't hit them at 80. They died at 80. So, and obviously forward smash, tippered, down smash, very strong. Up smash, also quite good, but, not in the same echelon of, really, really strong as the forward smash and down smash are. But the character has a lot of fun tools. I feel like she's a fun character to play. She's definitely, I think, probably the weakest DLC character that has been released thus far, at least for the first Fighter Pass. She's definitely seems to be the weakest. Now, I know Banjo doesn't get really much representation, and he is the DLC character I have played the most and had the most fun with. And we pretty much never see any Banjo in any region. I would be surprised if we started seeing, Byleths, popping up every which way. Now, obviously, people have played Byleth already in some locals, and, even won some locals, against, prominent players that we know of. But, they're still locals, and it's a, new matchup, and really good players are playing Byleth. So yeah, if people continue to play Byleth in locals, there's going to be some Byleth W's out there. But maybe it doesn't last long. Maybe it's just sporadic, and most likely is just going to be probably a counter pick, because I don't feel like Byleth is strong enough to solo main. There are very few characters that are good enough to solo main, just on the face of things, when you really take a look at the strength of the roster. Even some characters that, these characters really, really strong, they could, consistently top 8. They're still going to struggle a lot in a couple of certain matchups, and Byleth is going to struggle a ton. just because her disadvantage state is so bad. Her advantage state is very, very good, and she's got really, really good range. But with a lack of speed, she isn't able to get advantage of those really strong punishes that is available to her. Now, she definitely has some good strengths, and the weaknesses seem to be fair. And so many people get sniped off stage. You'll notice in these few games it happens quite a lot, especially if you use a forward throw or back throw. It sends them at just the perfect distance and angle to where they know they don't have to jump to get onto ledge, and they don't want to obviously get hit from so close and so high from the ledge that a lot of people will just fall and just completely sniped over and over again, or even jump into it sometimes. And a lot of people, even in the Ditto, which is a very interesting Ditto, for instance, Byleth gets juggled so easily and is so very, very good at juggling herself that it can be quite the volatile matchup. And the things that people are focusing on, obviously we've all seen the up B to up B combos that only work on DK at like 48% or whatever, or up to, it's from 0 up B to up B. But that only works on Donkey Kong. There's no other character that it works on. Very much like Little Mac in Smash 4. With his down air to up special. That was a combo that only worked on Donkey Kong, and this is very much the same exact case here. So she doesn't have crazy Bayonetta combos that not even that are inconsistent, that just straight up can work against anyone that's really not Donkey Kong. Maybe she can do something kind of nice against maybe Bowser or maybe DDD, but definitely nothing that is guaranteed or that's going to be able to kill. Not that she's going to get that matchup quite much anyway, but her weaknesses, I think, definitely outweigh her strengths, especially when it looks to her tournament viability. Her disadvantage state is just so bad. She has a terrible time at landing. Her dare is very strong, and it spikes and is a great option and kills even without the spike at 100 on stage, not even on platform. But it's a very slow, and it's going to lose to any anti-air in the game. So she has terrible time at landing. Everyone, is talking about her up special, and, it can recover from freaking eons away, but it is by no means, I think, the best recovery, or even, in the top 3 best recoveries in the game. It's still quite exploitable, especially with Pikachu. Pikachu just neutral specials you just die at 0 when you're hanging off of ledge with sort of the creator out. It's just maybe the worst matchup I've ever seen. In all of the Smash franchise. It's kind of ridiculous, but Pikachu kind of makes a lot of characters feel that way, right? So that's not honestly new. There definitely have been gatekeeping characters in the past. You take a look at Brawl, everyone talks about Meta Knight, but the real gatekeeper was Ices. Ices just made so many characters unviable. While they could have a fighting chance against Meta Knight, they would still probably lose every time, but Ices could just absolutely destroy them, that they were the gatekeepers of Brawl. And there doesn't, seem to be, the meta, and with the patches and the way things have shifted in both Wii U and Ultimate, we don't really have to worry about that problem because there's just so many more strong characters than any other Smash beforehand. So many more viable characters, so many more characters that can be used in tournament, that we see used in tournament, that win majors, that win super majors. And just with everybody upping the game, and this being such a huge game, it's the greatest selling Switch game of all time, and is the best selling fighting game of all time. As Sakurai put, don't know if they're counting all of the Street Fighter 2s in one, or Street Fighter 3s. But it's a huge game, and a lot of people are playing it. There's a lot of development that happens, very, very quickly. Humongous roster, getting bigger and bigger every single Smash, and even if there is a next Smash and a roster isn't still going to be as big as Ultimate, because not everyone will be returning, it's still going to be a very, very large roster, and tons of people are going to be playing it. So the fun aspects of Byleth, I feel, are really taking advantage of her range. And she doesn't have super strong consistent options. I feel like out of shield she has Nair, right? She doesn't really have a good strong kill option. She doesn't have any good throws, and her grab range is terrible, and her obviously her speed is bad, so she's not able to take advantage of any grab combos that she could have, and any grab combos that she does have, like, you see down throw into fair or maybe a mix-up. Those things are actually quite inconsistent, surprisingly so. But, she still has really, really strong kill power, and obviously is going to be way better on Wi-Fi as any character that has really strong kill power, like Ganondorf or any of the other heavies. Just because, lag and, spot dodging and rolling is just going to be insane. And, you can Samus roll all day online, and, you're never going to be able to get punished just because, that's what the connection allows to happen, that you can just roll, charge shot, roll, charge shot. And obviously she got her buffs, and we're going to go ahead and get another snipe on the third stock there in the Ditto. And I do apologize that there's so many Dittos. I realize that's not the best way to show off the character, but hey, it's what people were playing the first couple of days that she was out, as is the case with any new character in any fighting game, really, or any video game, honestly. Everyone wants to always check out characters that are new, especially if they are looking forward to the character, if they like the character's franchise, or, if the character is good. But obviously, everyone wants to check her out. I feel like her up special is a little overrated. Her recovery is not as good as some people say it is. I still think, like, it's quite exploitable. Obviously, I mentioned Pikachu fucking destroys her, but she is still susceptible to spikes. The way that her up special works is it's not as aggro as Ivysaur's Vine Whip, in that it'll go for the opponent as often as it does, as opposed to the ledge. Like, if your opponent and the ledge are on the same line, your up special is going to go through your opponent and hit the ledge, right? It's not going to be so aggressive to go for the command grab and the spike, and instead it will just go for the ledge, which obviously has its ups and downs with how that can work. And people obviously, I've seen what the neutral special can do, especially in its finely charged state, and with online projectiles being so good, it's something that a lot of people will find annoying, but definitely is not overpowered by any means, because it locks you into that animation, and that it is so slow, and obviously it can be reflected, but anyone who's played any character that has a projectile or relies on the projectile knows when to use that projectile against a character that has a reflector. Just use it when they literally are in not a state that they can reflect, when they are in offstage, when they are in lag, when they are going to land, or when they're going to jump because they're offstage and they want to get back to ledge. We all already know how we should be using our projectiles, so even if you have a Fox or a Palutena coming out there, your neutral special is still going to get some use if you use it at the correct time, such as is the case right there. And while her up special does go really, really far, I feel like it's still not as good of a recovery as Joker's. Maybe it has more range, maybe it's the same, I don't know. I have more experience with Byleth than I do with Joker, but it definitely seems like it goes further from the depths. But as far as, exploitivity or, consistent reliance, it doesn't feel as good as, the God character himself. But it's very, very good. It's just not insane like some people think. It is still very much exploitable. You still can very much spike her and interrupt her when she is either, you know, going for the whip shot to the ledge, or when she is retracting after already getting it. The ability to up special into the stage and not just the ledge obviously gives her a little bit of extra flexibility that other characters with tethers do not have. So it's not a bad recovery. I'm not saying it's a bad recovery, but it's not unguardable, right? It definitely still has its counterplay, and her options from ledge are not even that great. So when you have a character with great ledge trapping, such as Fox, she's going to have her struggles still within that aspect. It's not all about getting to the ledge, but it's getting off of the ledge that is also part of the game that everybody needs to learn and develop. And when it comes to her aerials, those are all very strong and all very good and useful. Back air, I don't feel has much use because of how damn slow it is. Obviously, it's stronger than fair, which is where you're going to get most of your aerial kills, unless you have a character that just can't land against her, in which case, you know, your up air is probably going to get a lot of mileage. And there, Fox went with the illusion. His recovery is stupid exploitable. One of the reasons I do not feel he is one of the best of the best of the best of the best on the roster. And we can snipe that for free. It doesn't matter if he has a reflector. Both of his recovery moves are still super duper slow, laggy, and exploitable. So Byleth can still take advantage of that. So really all of her moves find usefulness, even her down special, because it has that flexibility of having the armor, the ability to turn around and go through platforms as well as hit above platforms is going to make it better than Falcon Punch, even though Falcon Punch is faster. It has more range, you can turn around, it has the armor, so it's, you know, even better than Warlock Punch in that case. Because you have a little bit more freedom and movement to it. Although, obviously, it's not something we're going to be seeing in pro play almost ever, especially once people are used to it and are wary of that danger. It's something that we have seen already in locals, and maybe we will see sooner rather than later, but eventually that's going to be phased out. If there are any Byleth players, once things have all settled and people have made their judgment on the character, I don't see this character being strong enough as a DLC character to persuade people to switch off of their main and go to Byleth as their primary character for in-game tournament content. Characters that are on the roster from launch obviously have a little bit more of an advantage there because they're going to be immediately readily available, and DLC characters have been historically very strong and kind of, have to be in a lot of games in order to get people interested or to get people, to buy them. But I don't care how strong a DLC character is, I'm going to get them. It's Smash. I need to have all the characters. I need to make the content. I need to... you guys know I do not main any character. I really haven't in pretty much any Smash game, and I like the variety. So, I like playing Terry and Banjo and Byleth. Just because I'm not, huge into Piranha Plant doesn't mean I wouldn't buy Piranha Plant. Obviously I did. I have to have all the characters, and it helps that, they're very, very cheap considering what other DLCs cost. And hell, even like the Mii costumes, all those things are like less than $1, unless you have to get the Fighter Pass exclusive ones. So the value is there for the Fighter Pass if you still haven't got it. If you're wary about Fighter Pass 2, whether or not you were happy or disappointed with Fighter Pass 1, I'm gonna be getting Fighter Pass 2 because I want to have all the characters, and there's bound to be one or two of those characters that are just awesome, but I need to have them all anyways. So I do love Byleth's inclusion, and I like the character, and I like her series, and I like her game, and I'm definitely going to be playing her sometimes, but I feel like her weaknesses are so prominent and exploitable that I'm probably not going to be maining her if I ever decide to main a character. But she's a character that one of the dozen or so characters that I'm going to be coming back to because, she's fun and, isn't that difficult to play, and I like her. So, that's really all that it comes down to. as far as people saying, oh, you know, she's definitely at least high tier, you know, we're always going to get that hype of, you know, people usually saying that, oh, the new character, no matter what, is going to be overpowered. Some people will always say that they're super weak, but mostly, you know, people are going to get, you know, so hyped and, you know, want to clickbait and all that bullshit. We see it all the time, right? No matter what happens, that's just what we are expecting from this community, from pretty much all sources, from content creators that just want the clickbait and the views, or, you know, even some of the pros. You know, everyone's looking for a little bit of attention and a piece of the pie, and you know, voicing their own opinions. But Byleth's strong. Some people think she's too strong because of like how soon her tipper forward smash kills, or how strong her down special is. But, you know, they are definitely better moves in the game, but she has range and power, and that's her strength. She does not have speed. She doesn't have a good projectile game. She gets absolutely crushed by rushdown. She gets annihilated by spam and projectiles. There's just nothing that she can do. She doesn't have a reflector. She doesn't have a counter. She doesn't have a projectile that can contest with other projectiles because of how slow it is. And the fact that it's just an arrow and not something, you know, bigger or faster or smaller, or multiple of, like needles, for instance, or, you know, lasers, or, you know, bombs, or, you know, explosions, or things of that nature. So she gets crushed by a lot of the roster. But yeah, sure, you're still gonna see her, you know, win maybe a mid-tier event somewhere where there's only maybe like 5 people you've ever heard of, and one of them brings out a Byleth in some of their matches. She's a fun character. She's a good character. She has her strengths, but she also has a ton of weaknesses. So I'm not labeling her as OP or top tier or even high tier, at the very least for right now. But a fun character, and I enjoy her.